We are our own business cards. When I leave the house, I think about that. Like I go to the grocery store, like how I present myself, I might be talking to my next best client in front of me.
Welcome back to another episode of Bottled Up. I'm your host, Andrew Allen, and today we're going to pop open the stories behind the salon chair with Anne-Marie Walley, hairstylist and owner of Antonian Salon. Anne-Marie shares her long journey becoming a pro hairstylist, her experiences serving her clients, how she is committed to growing her business through continuing education and staying on the cutting edge of the industry, and her passion for carrying on her mom's legacy with her salon. So sit back, crack open a Pepsi, and hear Anne-Marie's story of hometown, hair, and heart. Thanks for coming on the show today, Anne-Marie.
Thank you, Andrew. Thank you for having me.
I wanted to have you on the show because I know that you're a second generation in the business of styling hair and makeup and nails. And, I wanted to, and I know that you're an owner operator around the same age. We've known each other a long time. And I've always been kind of interested in, what goes into you wanting to get into that business. It's a very specialized business. So take me a little bit back. How long has Antonian Salon been around?
Well, my mother started the salon in 1996. We moved here from San Antonio, Texas in 1994. So she opened a business 2 years after moving to a place she didn't know a soul. So really the salon was built on work ethic and word of mouth. This is our 27th year in business.
That's great.
And I was in 1996, I was in sixth grade. And I remember sixth grade at Westminster Academy, my mother opening a salon. It was like the coolest thing. And I never had, that thought never crossed my mind that I would work or even own the salon one day. I was always interested in hair and makeup.
That was kind of yours. That was like a lifestyle thing though with your mom and
yes.
That you always, the hair was always done. Everything was always done. So, I mean, I can imagine, having younger girls right now that, if they were around that sixth grade age and you're like, hey, guess what? Mom's going to be opening a salon. That would probably be pretty cool.
It was really cool. And, my mother was the one that if you came to the house without earrings on, she'd go to her jewelry box and put earrings on you, so yeah. It was in our blood. And that's just what we've always done.
Did you ever work in the salon as a child or anything like that?
So, yeah, I would come answer phones or sweep hair,
Yep.
And just kind of be around. I called myself the master of custodial arts, I come up with once a week. I took it so serious, and we were on Dito Road then, and we were there for 20 years. So really growing up, my mother working in the salon, I dabbled in it, coming in here, answering phones, but my whole intention was never really to do this as a living, although I was doing it every day. I ended up graduating. I went to Ole Miss.
Yep.
I got a business degree in marketing and minor in management. And I would do like Miss Ole Miss. I remember doing her hair. And the thought that never crossed my mind that I would actually get paid for this one day, because it was just part of who I was. Even on my days off, I do my hair and makeup.
Well, that's a special thing in life whenever you kind of have that moment where it clicks. It's like, all right, I'm doing all this anyway. I enjoy doing it. You kind of have a passion for it growing up around it. And then now you are doing it for your living. It almost makes it as if you're not really working whenever you're doing what you love. And I know that you love doing what you do.
Oh, you have to. I mean, this industry, you really have to love people. We are in the industry of people. I deal with, 20 to 25 clients a day that I see come in and out of the salon. I think of my mother every day, that I'm in here. I absolutely love what I do. I feel like I get to have a hair and makeup party every day coming to work. My mother had a saying, it was beauty knows no pain nor budget.
I love that so much.
It was just her being. That was just, she loved making people, and I loved seeing through her and making people feel and look the best. Like we sell happiness for a living. How wonderful is that?
Yeah, and your mom, every time I would come and you would cut my hair and your mom would be in there, and she had that gift of making people feel special.
Yes.
Sometimes you can learn that, but I think when you already have it in you and you just use it as a muscle and it gets bigger and bigger and bigger, and that's kind of what y'all do over at Antonian is your job is to make people feel special and to make them walk out of there with a smile on their face.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Well,
I mean, we have the best job in the world.
yeah, absolutely. And when you said that y'all are in a people business, that's 100% legitimate because I mean, I can imagine the ins and outs of owning a salon would be, the people are the lifeblood of the business, right? So
Absolutely.
without the people, there is no salon. So I think that being a people person and always knowing how to talk to people that you just met, knowing how to use the gift of gab, that kind of thing, that's a highly important skill with what you do.
Oh, absolutely. So I used to always get in trouble for talking in school, and now I get paid for it. So
that's right. That's right. So who showed who, right?
I know.
I know you went to Ole Miss with the thoughts of getting a marketing degree. What was your game plan to utilize that degree for?
So, it's so funny. Everything happens for a reason. But so when I graduated from St. John, I wanted to go to Ole Miss Business, and initially I wanted to be the Wolf of Wall Street. I wanted to be an investment banker.
Okay.
And so went to Ole Miss, quickly found out, Ole Miss Finance, it's pretty hard. So I was like, well, I'll do marketing and minor in management, and ended up loving it. I left, I graduated in 4 years. I came home and I was like, well, I guess I'll go to the casino. So I opened up the Hard Rock under the marketing department. And that was a really cool year of my life, a little too much fun. So I decided I better get out of that in my early 20s and decided to do real estate. And I got into real estate when the market was terrible.
Yep.
And it was just oversaturated. And it was one of those careers where you can do so much work and not get any reward. And I just didn't like that. So I said, well, you know what? I'm going to go back. I went to a bank here downtown, and I interviewed with investment group. And I said, I'm going to go back to, what I really wanted to do. Well, they showed me my cubicle I'd be working in. And I remember the distinct moment of walking outside, looking up in downtown Gulfport, looking up at the bank sign. I called my mom, and she said, well, how'd the interview go? And I said, well, I'm going to beauty school. And she said, what? It was a complete shock.
Out of nowhere.
Out of nowhere, complete shock. And so I always say kind of this career found me, and that it's in my blood. And I'm so blessed that I can share the talents that were given to me. And I can truly sell happiness and make people feel better about themselves. Like, not a lot of people can say that about their job. And I absolutely love what we do.
Also, you got to think about this too. I mean, getting to spend every day with your mom, and y'all working together is, some special times were had, I would imagine, getting to do that, and her kind of showing you the ins and outs of like managing a salon, because I mean, you're really, there's a lot of appointments, a lot of people involved with the staff. I know that managing people is sometimes the hardest part of being an owner of something, but also it's the most challenging and rewarding. So, I mean, you become a part of their lives. And, I know that you've had stylists who have had babies, marriages, all that kind of stuff. And you're in there with them, so I think that you deciding to go to beauty school on a whim just because you saw like the dead end of a cubicle to me is just like,
I can't.
It's just and no offense to anybody who works in a cubicle, but it wouldn't be the right thing for me. You feel like you're kind of closed off to everyone.
Yes.
So
people person, that's hard.
Oh, absolutely. So where did you end up going to cosmetology school?
We do have some really great cosmetology schools here on the coast. Like Chris's is a wonderful beauty school. They really prepare you. My goal when I decided I had a mission, I wanted to go as fast and as cheaply as I can go. And so at the time, MGCCC, which now has campuses on the coast, but back then, 16 years ago, I had to go to Loosedale. So this is a funny story. So I was like, well, that's the cheapest tuition we found and the fastest program. You can do 1,500 hours to go to cosmetology school, and you can do it as short as 9 to 10 months. And that's when I did it.
Wow.
So Loosedale, I had to be in school at 7 a.m. So driving from the coast to Loosedale and back every day wouldn't make sense. And then looking at apartments, they were I might as well just go to another beauty school and pay the tuition differential.
Right.
So my mother, she used to swim with Father Patty, who was at Our Lady of Fatima. And she's swimming with Father Patty one day, and she's just talking to him and said, "You're not going to believe this. Amory decided to go to beauty school, but, we're looking into Lucedale campus." And he, out of the blue, says, "Oh, my gosh, I know this lady that lives in Lucedale. Her name is Josie Henderson, and she's a retired teacher, and I know she would love Amory to live with her." I mean, out of the blue. She came home and she said, "Well, I got your roommate." I was like, "Oh, gosh, who?" She said, "Well, she's about 87 years old. Her name is Josie Henderson." And so I ended up living with Josie for the duration of beauty school, which was such a blessing.
What was that like?
It was the healthiest I've ever been, because it's a dry county and all there was to do was to go to the gym. So and she cooked all the time. So we ended up becoming really close, and she ended up driving down to get her haircut for years after.
That's awesome.
It was a special time in my life. And I look back at that year, and it warms my heart that it all worked out. And it was just really special. I could be there for her and she could be there for me. And so, yeah, I always say, I lived with a, 80-year-old woman to go to beauty school, but it was great. And then,
that's rather fitting though, Anne-Marie, if you think about it. I mean,
really, I'm glad it all worked out, and she had a space for me to stay. But so I ended up graduating. And then of course, I came straight to my mother's salon. And, when you're getting out of beauty school, some people might say, I'm going to go open a salon, which I wouldn't suggest. You
right.
have to get some experience. And that's kind of why I started the apprenticeship program, because my mother threw me to the wolves. I can remember, I graduated, it was over Christmas break, and I was going to the beauty supply and getting coffee for the girls or whatever. And she called me and she says, "You have a full highlight here. You need to come back." And I was like, I've never done a full highlight in my life.
Oh my God.
So that's how I learned. And I realized that's not the best for everybody. I could handle it, but so I started the apprenticeship program for stylists that are just graduating beauty school to go under my wing. And, I kind of train them from ground up. And it usually takes up to a year, and then they're on the floor. So they feel comfortable in the services they're going to provide,
What?
They don't get thrown to the wolves like I did.
Do you remember, going to cosmetology school, and I imagine y'all practice haircuts on the heads?
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
So whenever you started, had you ever cut anyone's hair before you went to school? On the side or anything like that?
So, I really don't think I did. I mean, my own hair, maybe my bangs, but I never did because my mother owned a salon.
Yeah.
So I would just go to the salon. So I guess I never did it, but I've seen my mother cut hair, my whole life.
Right.
She was, she taught at Chris's, she was a beauty school instructor.
I didn't realize that.
Oh yeah. She taught half the coast. It cracks me up. Some of these very well-known stylists around here will laugh and say, "Your mother almost failed me in electricity," But she was a great instructor. She had her barber instructor license, which is 2 boards. You have cosmetology board and you have barber board. And she went to 2 different schools to make sure she had both. She was licensed in 4 to 5 states. She had her instructor license in about 3 states. Goodness. Education was huge, huge, huge. She'd always say, if you're ripe, you're rotten. If you think you know it all, this industry is forever changing. So we never know it all.
Yeah. And I know that's one thing I do notice, and I kind of follow what you guys are doing on, social media, or I'll see that, y'all's account has posted that you guys are doing some further training on this and that. I mean, how important is that to you? Because it sounds like your mom was kind of the same way, but how important was that to you? Is that to you to make sure that all your stylists are up to date on the latest techniques, the latest styles, that kind of thing?
Well, it's everything. Education, my mother was so big into education. I think that's just kind of rubbed off on me, and seeing how successful she was because she was so current in
Right.
the latest trends and techniques and everything. That we started Antonian Academy. So we have Antonian Salon, and then the Academy, we host, we had just had a Bellamy extension class, which, let me tell you, I had to beg the educator to come here, because Mississippi, I don't know if every other state, they just think we're so behind, but I had to really fight for it. We were the very first Bellamy master certification class in the state of Mississippi over the summer.
That's really surprising, Anne Marie. Like,
I mean, it's crazy. It's absolutely absurd. I sat on the phone with her and I actually had to prepay for all the tickets and to make sure that we got them there. But, that's super important to me. I always want to be on the forefront of every kind of trend or, that we're doing it first. So we host education all the time. And my girls, I do have a standard, so they have to do continuing education. And we offer it. I mean, we have continuing education at least once a month throughout the whole year.
That's great. That's really good. I think that, we try to similarly over here with our technicians who do all of our service calls on vending machines and fountain units and all that kind of stuff. We whenever a new machine comes out, there's about 3 or 4 providers and builders of these units. And whenever a new one comes out and they has something we haven't seen before, we'll try to get them in to do something similar to like you're describing, where they walk you through, okay, if this problem is throwing this is how you fix this, that kind of thing. So just to continue the education of what all the pieces of equipment we have out in the market.
That's so important. That's what makes y'all the best.
Well, I appreciate that, Anne-Marie. I think what you and I share is that this business that I'm in and as well as yours is that it's not about selling drinks. It's about the people that we're selling the drinks to. And you can sell anything to anybody, but if they don't feel comfortable about the level of service that you're going to provide and that you're going to take care of them, what are you selling? There's no point in selling anything if they're uncomfortable with it and they're like, oh, you're just going to sell it to me and then leave me high and dry. Mm-hmm. No. Yeah. So the number one thing that we can control is our level of service.
Absolutely. Customer service is everything. Like, I still tell the girls, I'm like, at the end of the day, like, the customer, air quotes, is always right. You know what I mean? Like, in your mind and in your heart, it might not be, but just diffuse it and move on. And customer service is always number one. Word of mouth is huge.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, I can imagine. I mean, I know that you being having that marketing mindset, and I know that you do a fair amount of local, and you try to emphasize on local advertisers. Mm-hmm. And that's a big deal to you. Have you ever had a really, really, this is going to be kind of a tangent, but have you ever had like a really, really difficult starting off early, have like a really, really difficult haircut that you've had to complete that like you were just like, I got to get the hell out of this.
Well, I mean, we're human, like at the end of the day, I tell the girls all the time, like, we are human. We're going to make a mistake. Like, I can tell you, I am going to have a mess up in the future. You could be doing hair for 40 years and still have something. And on the flip side, though, we should always feel a little bit uncomfortable. Because you're feeling a little uncomfortable, that means you're doing something new and innovative. And that means that you're growing and going forward. Like, if I was to stand behind my chair and do the exact same haircut on every single person or exact same color on every single person that walks through the door, I'm not creating something unique that people will come back. Like, that's part of our business.
Also, Anne-Marie, you got to think about it. If you're uncomfortable, it means that you care about the result.
Absolutely. Yeah.
You want to get the best result, which means you're putting pressure on yourself to do the best you can. And I think that if you, like you were saying, if you're sitting back and you're just going through the motions, then you don't really care. You're just doing it so you can get the next person in and the next person in,
Oh yeah. I mean, that's not how to grow your business. Because you want people to come back. We have clients. I still have, like, my mother started the salon 27 years ago. We have more than one hand I can count on clients that have been coming here for 27 years. Like, that to me, like, holds like the weight of gold.
Yeah.
Like, that means we care. We care more than most.
Well, that also means that they don't trust anyone else but y'all.
Oh, that's true too.
I mean, people, I know I'm a man. I like coming to you because I know you and we have a relationship and you do a good job cutting my hair, but I'm probably like a mannequin head. It's really easy to do a man's haircut. Now, when it comes to a women's cut and color, that's a different animal.
Oh yeah.
So the fact that you still have people for over a quarter of a century that have been coming to the same place because they're getting the result they want and they're not going anywhere else means a lot.
It's pretty cool. It warms my heart, to see my mom's old clients in my chair, and just very nostalgic. And, I love seeing clients. They're the clients I've done since I started, and we go through so much with our clients. We go through the happy times and we go through the sad times, and we really get to know people and what they like and what they don't like as far as their services goes, but also just on a personal level. If we do their weddings, we might do their first haircut when they were kids. And then,
Yes.
you go through with homecomings and proms and, if they do Mardi Gras, and I don't know, it's very special.
What do you think your biggest time of year is? I know Mardi Gras is slammed for you. It's always slammed.
Mardi Gras is probably our biggest, busiest time. We just had Gulfport High homecoming last weekend, this past Saturday.
Yep.
Then coming up, we have St. Pat's and a few more. So homecoming starting now until after Mardi Gras. I mean, it's crazy through the holidays.
This is when you're slammed.
This is when we're slammed because everybody, like, starting October, it's like it gets cooler and people get frisky and they want to get their hair done. So October, November, and then holidays, Christmas, and then we roll right into Mardi Gras starting typically that second week in January.
Yeah.
We're full-fledged into it.
Yeah,
So,
kind of explain to the listener what it is that you do because I've gone in length about this with you because I find it's insane. But what you do as far as for these Mardi Gras balls and the level of commitment for you and your team to do what you do, it kind of walk me through like what that is.
So yeah, we take the Glam Squad very seriously, and the girls know that too, because these days and times that we schedule out for, they cannot be rescheduled. So hell or high water, my team knows, and I know I'm going to be there. So what we do is, each group typically will hire us out, and majority of our business is on location now, which is interesting because I remember my mother, she never wanted to go on location. She said, tell them to come in the salon. I'm like, well, it's just a different breed now with weddings and Mardi Gras. They have everything set up at the hotels or their rooms. But we'll go on location specifically, Gulf Coast Carnival. We set up typically at the Golden Nugget Thursday. We'll start glamming Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Monday is their ball, and then Tuesday's Fat Tuesday. And intermixed there, we're booked with Revelers and Mithras and other books. But I have a team typically of 8. I have 2 artists fly in. I do a huge Excel spread. That is where my business degree really shines because I can whip up an Excel spread in literally like 3 minutes. And the organization, you have to be super organized so we don't double book or, I have my stylist put in the right places because a lot of times I'll have split teams during Mardi Gras. So I have one team over here at the Coliseum doing backstage, and then I'll have another team at the hotel glamming for people going to the ball. So it is a huge outfit. I had a stylist fly in from Italy. She was with me and then moved to Italy, and she flew in just for Mardi Gras. So that's how, we're just busy. It's a lucrative time for us. It's a fun time. It's exciting. We get
exhausting.
To really,
sounds like
it's exhausting. Ash Wednesday, we all fall on the ground. But I enjoy it. I love the hype of it. I love showing the creativity side of it with glitter and glitz and glams.
So, Anne-Marie, how many people do you estimate that your 8 stylists, which, by the way, I had no idea that you flew people in. That's a huge deal, too. How many people during that stint do you think that your team touches in styles?
Oh, I mean, hundreds. You got to think if we have 8 stylists and makeup artists a day and we do an average of 10 a piece, we're talking hundreds. So
yeah,
it's a delicate balance because at the end of the day, I'm personally dealing with hundreds of ladies, and everybody wants that prime time, perfect time. They don't want it too early, too late. So you almost have to finesse, and that's when people skills, and then our skill set. Like I tell these ladies, actually, it's better to go earlier because you get the touch ups and you get double the makeup. Or, let me do your hair early, and then if it falls, we can pin it, So just trying to work with everybody. But that's honestly our biggest and busiest time of the year is Mardi Gras for sure.
Well, I figured you were going to say that because I think you and I have had this conversation before where I was really interested in the seasonality of what you guys do. And And I
You know,
understand. It's like y'all's Super Bowl. That's y'all's Super
yeah.
Bowl week.
Oh, no doubt. I mean, and summer historically has been slow, for the past, since ever started doing hair. My mother would always tell me summer's slower. But since Gulfport School District started year-round schooling,
Yep.
we have not experienced a slowdown. So that was really interesting to me to look at the numbers and say, wow, that really did affect those back-to-school haircuts, pushed it into June or July and helped fill in those gaps. So that was pretty cool to see that.
Yeah, that's a blessing right there. So so now you don't really have like a super dead. Like I know our business is kind of opposite from y'all. It's like summer through end of mid-October, we're slammed. And then like we start to kind of slow down. Then you have a little peak here for Thanksgiving and New Year's and Christmas. But after that, you start to ramp back up and it's very temperature and weather based for us.
I bet. Yeah,
which has been crazy this year because of the lack of rain and the heat. It's just been, it's been wild. So, and I know that your husband, Kiowa, who I have a relationship with as well, he has his landscaping business. So I imagine that he's been kind of in an interesting spot right now.
Well, yeah, he's also our master colorist. So he's been doing color for 25 plus years. Well, even longer than that. I think it's 30 plus years. Might be giving away his age. I'll stop there.
No, listen, here's what I'll say about him. I've spoken to people who don't know that I'm friends with him, and they will tell me that he's one of the best colorists, if not the best colorist.
Oh, he is. Oh, no doubt. His formulations are off the wall. He is literally our little hidden gem that will keep around forever.
Oh, yeah.
And what's nice about he's not doing landscape, he's doing hair color and vice versa. So he's been doing a lot more color now that it's been extremely hot, and vice versa. And he's also working on Walley Ween, our Halloween trail.
Oh, go ahead and kind of explain a little bit what Walley Ween is. I want to personally say that I've seen it from the beginning to where it is now, and it's incredible. The transformation has been incredible.
Yeah, Kyle he's a genius artist of all aspects. But he always loved Halloween, and I loved the artistry of it, being the makeup artist and a hairdresser, and he's a master colorist. And so we started doing Halloween trails at our house. We live in Bayview, across from Bayview Park. And so we would just do little trails. Well, it started getting bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. And we've been doing it on and off about every other year for the past 10 years. And so we got approached by the Den. It's in Bayview. It's called Dynamic Enrichment Network. Alina Golden approached us to do Walley Ween at the Den this Halloween. And it will be every single Friday and Saturday night from 7 to 9 p.m. We'll have live music. Pop Brothers is coming out. We'll have food trucks. But he's been working on this trail since June.
Yep.
Mind you. So this is, over half the year that he's been working on it. And the proceeds, it's $5 to go through, $5 for live music. The proceeds go to the Den, and then it also goes to the Anna Maria G. Sookman Scholarship Fund, which we started after my mother passed away in 2017. And in her honor of education and spreading the love for the industry, the beauty industries that we love so much, we started a scholarship fund in her name. And what the Anna Maria G. Sookman Scholarship Fund is a fund that we give to upcoming cosmetology students. It could be high school students. It could be adults wanting to go. Anybody can apply. You apply for the scholarship, and depending on how much fundraising we do is how much we give. Kit costs in cosmetology school, when I was going, that was over $1,000. So I can only imagine what they are now.
It's probably $5,000 to $7,000 now.
I'm sure. So it kind of helps offset that. So Walley Ween with the Haunted Trail, half the proceeds go to the Den, which is the community center, and then half of it goes to my mother's scholarship fund.
If anybody's been around as long as me and Anne-Marie have, it's the fifth grade classrooms of the old Westminster Academy building. Miss Bomber's class, that's right.
I remember I was standing up there last night thinking, I got hit in the eye with a Jolly Rancher by Miss Bomber right there.
It's like I walk in and Kyla, he told me to come check it out. I walk in and we're ripping Miss Bomber's her dry erase board off the wall to make room for everything. But I will tell you, it's going to be an experience.
It's a must-see. It really is incredible.
Absolutely. If anybody knows Kiowa, they know that he doesn't skimp when it comes to this kind of stuff. He's highly passionate about the result. And, he brought in lighting. He has
Yeah,
sound guys. They're going to have actors there. It's something to see.
absolutely. It's every single Friday and Saturday night in October from 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. So come on, come off, come through as many times as you want.
Yep. It's going to be fun. So what would you say would be one of the biggest challenges of owning and running a salon? Something that people probably might not think about whenever they just think, oh, I'm just going and I'm getting a haircut or color or anything like that. What would be the biggest challenge?
So, being a salon owner and being a salon stylist are two completely different things. So I feel like I have two personalities.
Yep.
On Monday, I'm the owner and I'm taking care of business. And during the week, I'm the stylist trying to, work next to my fellow stylists. That to me is one of the hardest things, is to have so many different hats, is trying to figure out where, like a puzzle, where does it all fit? And always trying to be on the cutting edge of things. If I'm physically behind the chair, it's so hard to keep up with social media, or things throughout the day when my hands are in hair all day. So I guess it's the time management and trying to just make it all work. You want to always be on the forefront and forecasting for your next client,
Yes,
as well as giving your client in your chair their proper time. So I guess, figuratively speaking, that kind of goes for the business too. It's like I'm either working on my current business or working to the future business, and just, time management and managing people. I have learned that one thing I can say to one person in a certain manner, I really might not be able to say it in that exact same way to the next.
Yes, exactly right.
And that was a hard pill for me to swallow, because I'm such a blunt person, and I just kind of
One of my favorite things. One of my favorite. That's one of my favorite things about you.
Yeah, I mean, just kind of just say it as it is. And I have learned sometimes you might want to dance around certain things with certain people to make it better for everybody. And so that's just managing people.
Everybody's an individual.
And then that's just one aspect of it. But, I guess the biggest challenge is, it's always trying to stay on the forefront of everything, always trying to stay current, that grit and that grind every single day. I'm always doing something for the business. Like, yes, there's always something that I'm, and what's interesting too is, like, we are our own business cards. When I leave the house, I think about that. Like, I go to the grocery store, like how I present myself, I might be talking to my next best client in front of me.
Another thing I've always noticed about you as well is that, you are like a walking billboard.
Mm-hmm. And as we all should be, you
gotta be uptight. You gotta make sure that everything's looking good. And I don't think I've ever seen you where it's been the other side of that.
No. Oh, my mom.
I mean, maybe when we were like 17 years old or something, but I don't think, and I can't picture in my head the other side of that with you. Your mom was the same way.
Yeah, she wouldn't answer her door without her eyelashes on.
Listen, the saying that you have in lights in the salon, beauty knows no pain or budget, is one of my, every time I go in there and I see that and I think about her, it's one of the funniest. I love that so much.
I know, she's at all costs.
Yes. There is no reason why you should not. So another question, what do you think if a customer is looking for a professional hairstylist, what do you think a customer should look for?
Well, first and foremost, we are in the business of aesthetics. So I know that whole saying, like, don't judge a book by its cover, but if somebody has 4-inch roots and they're a colorist, like, I wouldn't be going to them. So I think the biggest thing is when you're trying to look for a stylist is, are they put together? Do they have their hair done? Or is their hair kept? So that would be the first indicator. And then second, like, asking them, when was the last class you attended? Because I have certainly heard throughout my duration of my career as older seasoned stylists, oh, I don't need classes. I haven't been to a class in 20 years. Get me out of your chair. You don't want something that's not educating. So that would be another indicator too, is just making sure that they're keeping current and giving you the layest techniques that they can offer.
Yeah, just kind of doing some, I think that's really smart, especially asking when was the last time you had some continued education, because it's like
clients ask me that all the time.
Really?
Oh, yeah. And I'm like, well, which one? Let me tell you. And then we go into a 30-minute conversation about education, and I think that makes them feel better. That we are we care. You know, at the end of the day, we care.
Yeah, and I think that kind of is what differentiates someone who is an owner and you live in a community. It's what separates local business owners from people who work for a corporate. Not to say that anybody who works for a corporate chain that they don't care, but they're few and far between. A lot of times they're just working there because they needed to make ends meet, you know.
Absolutely.
It's a bigger deal to me and you.
Yeah. Oh yeah. We have more skin in the game.
It's
our reputation.
It's all our skin is in the game.
Yeah, no doubt.
You know, so if we don't have a backup, there's no plan B here.
Yeah.
You know, so this is it. And we gotta do the best we can with what we have, you know. So I think that you're doing a really good job, Anne-Marie. I think you have a good head on your shoulders. You're doing really well, just expanding it out, you know, so just keep up the good work. I know that the ideas that you have as far as bringing somebody in who's never been in the state of Mississippi before, you would think that would have been done in Madison or Jackson or,
I know,
you know, but that's wild.
It was wild. And that conversation, I'll never forget it. I mean, for 30 minutes, I had to plead our case.
What were they saying? They were just like, you know, we're not interested.
They tried to have a class before in North Mississippi and it fell through. And these classes, like the tickets are $1,500 a piece.
Jeez.
And she had to guarantee at least 10. And so 10 tickets. And she said, we tried to have a class in North Mississippi. It was unsuccessful and it never happened. And so I pretty much pleaded the case and I said, send me the bill. And I knew if I prepaid it, I was going to hustle to sell those tickets. So we did. And it was a huge success. And, Bellamy, one of the directors, called me and said they would love to come back. So
that's great.
That for the state of Mississippi alone makes me happy.
Well, you know, anytime I ever talk to somebody who's never been here, especially the coast, because I kind of look at the state like the coast is a little bit different than the rest of the state. We're kind of an anomaly down here. Mm-hmm. And I think that people who have never been to Mississippi, there are all these tales that are being told, you know, they're surprised we have shoes on and that kind of thing. But they always end up saying, you know, number one, Southern hospitality is real. Mm-hmm. That's not faked. And number two, just the inclusion and the generosity and the conscientiousness and the realness of the people in this area to people who are not from this area, it kind of charms them. It charms them into thinking, you know, that place is special, you know, and the people want to come back. Let me ask you this about the class, the Bellamy class. Uh-huh. Why is that such a big deal? What differentiates Bellamy from any other type of product or style, I guess, technique? What is it about it?
Bellamy is a brand. It's an extension brand. They sell hair extensions.
Okay.
And we took their class in Birmingham 2 years ago. And their level of education in the hair extension world is unmatched. I've been to several other hair extension classes and it didn't sell me. So a couple years ago, I took their class, and that's when I knew I wanted to become like exclusive Bellamy extensions.
Yeah.
So really, it's a premium product. You know, like we carry Goldwell, like all of our products in here, to me and to a lot of our stylists, it's the best on the market. I would rather pay a little more and have a premium product and know I'm giving my client the best that they can get versus trying to cheap it out.
Yeah, that puts you at ease knowing that the quality is there. That way you're not going to have somebody coming back complaining about how, you know, this isn't what I expected it, you know, that kind of thing.
Oh, yeah. And it's everything. I mean, that's quality products in the hair world is everything.
Anne-Marie, let me ask you this. Someone who has never been to Antonian Salon and, you know, they want to come in, what all services do you guys offer? And just kind of walk them through about what they might expect if they came in.
So we offer everything from haircuts, color, latest techniques, updos, styling, makeup. We're on the cutting edge of like brow lamination, eyelash tinting. We have nails. We still offer nails. We do acrylics, Tammy Taylor sculptured acrylics, pedicures. Anything to do with glam, on location, weddings we'll do, or in salon. We pretty much touch on it all except for facials.
Okay. And if someone wanted to book an appointment with you guys, how could they do that and where could they find you?
832 Curl. So
That's your
nice.
If you see a Lincoln driving around with a license plate that says that, that's Anne Marie.
That's our phone number. I used to cringe my mom when she moved to Dido Road 20 years ago. She said, "I got the phone number. It's 832 Curl." I was like, that's amazing.
That's
So
awesome.
the best way, honestly, is to call the salon. We don't do online booking right now just because we have such specialty services that the time might vary client to client. So it's so hard for the client to determine their own time. So
Right.
the best way is just to call, or you're welcome to message us on Instagram or Facebook.
Okay. And that would just be Antonian Salon.
Antonian Salon. And our Instagram is at Antonian.salon.
Well, I appreciate the time, Emery. It's always nice chatting with you.
Oh, thank you so much. And I got to tell you, I am so proud of you too, following your
Thank
dad's
you.
footsteps. I think that's another thing we share is that, you're carrying on your dad's legacy, and I
Yep.
think people are proud of you as well.
That's right. It's a big deal. It's more than a job. It's our livelihood. We want to make people proud.
Absolutely.
So that's what makes us want to continue to move on and to grind and be better and keep looking forward to the future. And, I think we share that mindset.
Absolutely.
Well, Anne-Marie, if you ever need anything, you shoot me a text. I'm probably going to go by and check out a sneak peek of Walley Ween.
Oh, yes. Every Friday and Saturday, 7 to 9.
Yep. So I'm going to go by and try not to get scared. I'll see you a little later on. Okay.
All right. Thank you so much, Andrew.
You're welcome. Business success requires smarts, grit, and grind every day. And Anne-Marie Walley seems to do this with style and ease. And it doesn't hurt that her biggest inspiration and mentor is her well-known and local hairstylist icon mother. If you have listened to this podcast, then you know I love talking with our generational family business owners whose work is more than just a job. And I know Anne-Marie is doing her mother proud by carrying on and growing her mom's work and passion at Antonian Salon. Again, thanks for listening, and until next time, go support local businesses and experts like Anne-Marie Walley at Antonian Salon. They are the craftspeople and artists that make the Mississippi Gulf Coast so wonderful and unique. Thanks for listening to the Bottled Up Podcast. Want us to deliver this show into your email inbox as they drop? Want to tell us about how you like the show? Or you want to tell us about a Gulf Coast restaurant or bar you would like us to spotlight in upcoming episodes? Email Morgan at mwheeler, WHEELER, at abevinc.com. That's ABEVINC.com. Want to know more about Allen Beverages and how we work with our clients, partners, and vendors? Check out allenbeverages.com. This show was edited and produced by Johnny Gwynn and Deep Fried Studios.